Awesome. Welcome, Barrett MacDonald. We're here for another segment of my coaching story with Action Coach. And as we dive in, I'd love to hear a little bit more about just first your background, where you were before Action Coach, and what was kind of the seed that planted business coaching and Action Coach, and how you kind of came into your coaching journey.
Yeah, you bet, Bonnie. Thanks for having me on today. Glad to take the time out of the schedule and do this. So, bit about me. It all started on a snowy day. No, we'll skip that part. Fast forward. So, I was with a great Canadian company called Canadian Tire for just over 12 years, running some different stores throughout Western Canada. And then my wife and I decided to stop kind of going down that path and move to back to the Halifax, Nova Scotia area where we opened up a restaurant. So we guided a restaurant through the pandemic and did all of those learnings and takeaways and all of that stuff with the business acumen that I learned from Canadian Tire. And then I came across Action Coach. So I was kind of half looking for some help myself and half looking at another opportunity for a business. And when I came across Action Coach and started having the conversations with the recruitment team and then the powers that be and the leaders, I realized it was a good fit. I like
Mhm.
helping people. I like structure. I like support systems. And Action Coach rolled all of that into one fancy ball. So now I'm out here in Atlantic Canada, helping local businesses in the area continue to one, stay alive in some scenarios, but mostly actually
Mhm.
start to realize where they want to go, and stop kind of making the mistakes or learnings or just do the thing, and create that action in them and get rid of that fear that is in all of us. So that's kind of what we've come across and what's been a big good part of the journey.
Yeah, no, that's a great, just full compass hearing about your journey and even just like seeing the need for coaching in your own life, essentially, or even how you um naturally wanted to assist other business owners with the knowledge that you have had from your experience working in um, Canadian Tire and in the restaurant industry is it's just like a natural evolution of, what's next and I give back and add value to others. So I love that about your journey. And so I'm sure there's probably other maybe other avenues that you're looking at, but what were maybe the key factors of or elements that you chose Action Coach? Was it, I guess you shared a little bit on the support. Maybe you can share on like how your training went and what really was that deciding factor to jump in and say, yes, this is for me.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that there's two types of people that go into business for themselves. Those that kind of want the support of what a franchise provides, and those that just kind of want to go it alone and get scared of the things that being a part of a franchise is. So what really attracted me to the safety of the franchise model was my own experience. So being an owner of a restaurant, not part of a restaurant group, all of those things during the pandemic, it was hours a day of making phone calls and trying to figure out what to do next when it came to things with CRA or things with taxes or things with like grants and all of those things. I realized that in talking to some of my former friends and current friends of Canadian Tire, that Canadian Tire and a big company does that stuff for you. They provide you with that information and the guidance. So being a part of something bigger than myself is something that was a huge attraction factor for me. And then just the style of training. I mean, you never stop learning. What's great about Action Coach is the team around the world is more than willing to give you 15, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever it takes. They share a document they've created, that might be outside of the normal thing, or with any company, sometimes materials go missing from the internal system, and someone's like, "Oh, I have that saved on my drive, so here it is," and that type of a thing, rather than just having to reinvent the wheel yourself. And there's something to be said about a group of people keeping up on trends, and building out structure and systems that are sharing and that we're able to bring to our clients.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's good. And just hearing you speak on like the continuance of learning and the continuance of the availability of the content that's available within Action Coach and the system. Yeah, what was your experience with Action Coach Canada, the headquarters here in Canada, and then also like your experience at the global training? Because you went to Las Vegas, right? 10-day
Yeah,
intensive. I hear there was volleyball. Hopefully it wasn't too early, but
we don't share too much about volleyball. It's kind of like Fight Club in that regard, but it was
okay.
fine. It was fun. And it's a lesson around volleyball and building a team and the different things. And the key to playing the volleyball was the different rules that were coming into play. So it's teaching you how to kind of be nimble in business. And one day wasn't the same as the rest. So it's the bigger
Hmm.
version of what that is. But the team at the Canadian head office is great. What's really good is no one was hard selling. Everyone was just wanting to bring you along and to make sure that you're a fit for everybody in the country in the
Hmm.
system, which is really important because naturally when we all get together at a meeting or something, we all get along. And that's not necessarily true with a lot of different companies that I've come across or research being a part of. Everybody cares about the success of Canadians, and we're kind of all in that boat together, which is great. And then the training at Global was, I mean, it's second to none. Everything's going to have its flaws and its upsides and its downsides, but the fact that everyone gets the same training, same system, same everything, you get to experience what it is to be at the head office in Las Vegas, meet the people that are making sure your email turns on every day, to the marketing team, to seeing where Brad creates all of our great content in his little studio, and seeing a little bit of the inner workings of that is kind of interesting. And getting to kind of experience and see the walls where everyone has signed their name that's graduated in the Hall of Fame, and
Hmm.
just hearing the stories of the different coaches has been great and fascinating. And then to come home, and I'm a firm believer that that training should be done in person, and then the virtual training to finalize as a coach. That 5 days was, I mean, it's 5, 10, 11 hour days. It's not, it doesn't go by in a flash. It's a lot of work, but you can see that you get out what you put in. So it's
Yeah.
like a spreadsheet. If you put bad information in, you get bad information out. But we're putting good things in there, and you just got to make sure that you're using the formula to the best of your ability.
Yeah, 100%. And for those that are listening, that when Barrett went through the firm training for the firm franchise, so he did a 10-day intensive live training in Las Vegas, and then there's the 5-day training after. So it's like how to build your firm and then how to coach, right? And then coming out of that, there's also the growth success program that we host in Action Coach Canada that's virtual, and it's 4 months around, or 12 weeks,
Yeah, it's like
right?
12
And
weeks of continuous learning.
how did you find the growth success program to coming out of the intensive training and pushing towards the launch of your business, and how valuable
Yeah,
that was?
absolutely. So to touch on that, Bonnie, it was great because it goes from this general overview of everything that everyone has to go through, and then when you get into I mean, the individualized aspect of working with Action Coach Canada gets into more what's important for you and how you want to build your business and your firm. And
Mhm.
then here's the way that we kind of do it. And being a business owner is one of the loneliest jobs you can have in on the planet. So to have that someone in your corner that you can talk to that can kind of be like, dust yourself off, go back out there, go visit another business owner, change how you did that conversation, is huge because it gives you
Mhm.
that fact check ability that really makes you better. And they
Yeah.
want nothing what's better for you. And then at the same time, with the communication flowing, it allows us to bring things to light for Action Coach Canada to help on our behalf petition and go and ask for things to change at a global level. Where
Mhm.
there's some things that happen, and having that team advocate for you in your corner is massive, because there
Mhm.
can be a lot of autonomy. There's a lot of things that sometimes people are trying to reinvent the wheel, but it's there. And we're constantly improving as a global community, which is fantastic.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And just hearing what you're saying is also like the training is like coaching for yourself too, right? It's like a continuous coaching, as we also say, like our coaches should have coaches, right? Because it's you're practicing what you're preaching, right? So those first kind of months of going through the training and launching your business, it's great to have somebody to help you, hold you accountable, and be like, yeah, this is normal to, have doubts or to feel, this is hard or challenging, right? And that's business, that's every business, right? So it's good to have that support network, not just within our Canada region, but and the coaches as well, right? There's the head office that is assisting, and then the community of the other action coaches who are 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, helping with, hey, you can use this document to help with, closing a client, or this element that you're assisting with. So yeah, there's such a huge network available, and which is one of the powerful elements of Action Coach, right? And choosing to be part of the Action Coach franchise and business model. So you launched your business around February, or around maybe 6 or 7, 8 months ago.
Yeah, I think that it's safe to say we're officially like 6, 7, 8 months in. Because you might be having conversations and taking clients on meetings and taking some people on, but you're not really honing your craft until you've done it a few times. So
Mm-hmm.
to really get those repetitions in is key. So it's been a journey, and it's a learning curve to figure out. You might know your market because you live in it and you do business in it, but when you go to sell and help people through the action coach method, you have to figure what products on our ladder, because our product ladder is huge and it's vast and it's varied. I mean, you can get anywhere from $50 a week on a product ladder all the way up to $50,000 a month. So there's something on it for everybody, but really figuring out what your strength of selling is, what your offerings should be, just to get your business going. And then as you
Mm-hmm.
improve, you can add things and bring those different layers in. And something you kind of touched on about like a coach having a coach. I've been kind of using the example with business coaching is you can go to the gym and pretend that the
Mm-hmm.
gym is a business and you can do it yourself and you're going to have some great results. But the second you get that personal trainer in your corner, your results are going to improve. And then if you add
Yeah.
another layer of someone that's helping you with your diet, so you got someone making sure you do the right exercises and someone making sure you put the right fuel in your system, your business can kind of grow and take off. And that's kind of what we do is we help hold them
Yeah.
accountable. And you know what? We slap that cookie out of their hand when they're going to have that snack at the wrong time and
Yeah.
inspire them to get out of bed to go for that walk in the morning, is what we do. So it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. And it's a good analogy, right? Just coaching, the analogy of coaching to sports and business coaching. It's so apparent in this business. And yeah, so now since launching, you've had some successes with clients, bringing on new clients, and even expanding your territory, as well as you've
Yeah.
had the confidence in Action Coach, and you see the growth beyond, tomorrow. You're looking long term. And can you share, some specifics of strategies or what's helped your clients grow, and or what does it look like in a first week of coaching, first month of coaching, and what will it look like in a year? It's going to be different, right?
Yeah, so I mean, one of my original clients that we took on was in the trades, and one of the biggest breakthrough moments for them was we had to figure out where they wanted to go with their business and what was important to them as a business. So we started with really honing in on what their vision, their mission, and their cultural statements were, and were they living and breathing it themselves as a 3-person team. Then once we realized what that was, then we started assessing the work that they were doing, because they were, there's cash flow, there's all kinds of different things that come up when you're going through your coaching journey, but what jobs do you want to do in this trade? So this particular client, they were doing a mix of commercial and residential work. So in going through, we review everything from how they're writing their invoices, what payment terms are, what their guarantees are, and all of those different
Mhm.
aspects. They realize that they don't really want to be chasing homeowners for payments or doing that. So their model switched in the first couple of months from taking any work that they could get to strategically trying to work more in the commercial space, which
Mm-hmm.
gave them that guarantee of, you know what, at the end of the job, we're going to be paid in that right amount of time. And they were able to plan out their calendar for 6 months, a year. With those different jobs as the construction boom out here in Nova Scotia keeps going. So then they were able to plan like vacations and time off at Christmas and
Mm-hmm.
golf trips and all of those aspects that were important to them. And in a very short period of time, once they started niching down on looking at stuff from a 10,000 foot view, they've been happier and they've been having better financial success and more free time. And I mean, the struggles are never going to end, but
Mm-hmm.
now they have a platform in place where before they didn't know what they needed to hire or who they needed to hire, what role it was. Now we've been able to break it down into its simplest forms. And they know that if I bring this person on, my business will grow by this much because I can say yes to this job, this job, this job. So the mindset shift of looking from a person or a staff member as an expense to looking at it as an investment that'll help you grow, because that staff member is very quickly, even though you might be paying them $30 an hour, they're bringing in 140, $150 an hour worth of work. So just that
Right.
mindset shift that happens in a very quick matter of time is something that's tremendous. And then I have other clients that I'm working on building up business plans for because they're looking at scaling up and they're trying to take their business from $500,000 a year to $1.4 million a year in a short period of time. The only way they're going to do that is by having some equipment and some cash flow. But with our business planning tools, we've been able to document that out, present it to a financial institution, and get them that funding where they're able to buy that $250,000 worth of equipment where they can get to that next level. So it's been a lot of fun along the journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's just getting started, right?
That it is.
Yeah, I love that. And so how would you like as a new coach, somebody like even considering becoming a coach, what was your key factors that really elevated your growth or gave you the confidence to kind of really hit the ground running, close clients, and reach like an annualized revenue of six figures and have that confidence in, you know, that doing this full time?
Yeah, and I think that what I didn't do in the beginning and what I did kind of in the middle or the second half of the beginning, we could call it, is started joining in on a few more conversations and being a little bit more part of the team. Been fortunate enough to be a part of a couple of different masterminds and making sure that I show up at any support work that happens out of the Canadian head office and just continuously watching our videos and learning. I think that anyone
Hmm.
that's coming in as a new coach, you got to find what works for you. Which is kind of funny to say because you're buying a franchise and a system, but how you interpret and how you sell the system is what really is your style. And figuring that out and just really working on what is important to you and who you want to get to. And then you have to get the reps in. I mean, in the beginning, you're
Hmm.
getting the no's and you can't even carry on a conversation. All of a sudden, 3 months later, you're like, wow, with all of that practice and all those repetitions, I look back and it's like, I wish I could go have a new conversation with that person when I was fumbling over my words. And then you end up seeing them 6 months later in another networking opportunity or at a chamber meeting or something like that. And you're talking to them again, and the conversation's completely different. And you go
Hmm.
from feeling like you were a bit of an imposter to feeling like now I have something I can really offer you. And it's been the same Rolodex, it's just your confidence level that's changed. And
Yeah.
your knowledge of what the systems are that really change over time. So that's been one of the greatest things about the journey is just finding that who you are evolves and the doubt in your ability disappears, and it disappears
Hmm.
really quickly once you start having those success with your clients and you know you have something
Yeah.
solid to offer.
Yeah, builds that confidence for sure. And even I love what you said of just plugging more into the action coach community, right? Like we have the right now weekly support clubs and a path to mastery that the operations team is posting for the coaches to elevate and hit benchmarks and have some friendly competition within our action coach community, right? And it fosters, you know, co co-competition and elevation, and it's fun to see, you know, and that's part of the coaching community opposed to going at it yourself, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah.
And
So
I
on the
mean,
other side of things, oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead. You've got control. You're asking the questions here.
All right. Well, I wanted to jump on to the other side as you know, you've been coaching and explore as somebody is a business owner and they've been following, you know, certain procedures for X amount of years. Like I often hear an objection like, well, you don't know anything about my business. How can you help me grow?
Oh, so that what have you have you coached a plumber before? Have you coached a lawyer before? All of those types of questions.
Yeah.
Those are fun ones because if you want someone that's going to drive your revenue in whatever your specific business is, then go ahead and hire that specialized consultant. What we
Mhm.
do is we work on you and we work with you to get you to where you need to be. Because once your mindset and your tool chest is polished and has the right tools in it and all of those things, you can realize that you might be an electrician owning a very successful electrical company, but as you kind of back off and want to get off the tools, you can buy a different company, you can buy a different thing because we are teaching you and establishing business principles, not just
Mhm.
fix the hole that's happening in your business right now. So we create that long-term success and we base what we do on where you want to get to. I mean, the way I start all of my clients is we begin with the end in mind. So what does your
Mhm.
ideal life look like in 5, 10, 15 years? Everyone's leaving their business. It's whether you want to or
Yeah.
not that changes, right? Some business owners want to die behind their desk. Some business owners get pulled away because of mismanagement of funds. And some business
Mhm.
owners just decide to give up. So really figuring out what's important for you, what's important for your family is a differentiator with Action Coach on how we approach
Mhm.
things. So that's where it's great to have us in your corner because we can also stay up on trends. I mean, I have some clients now that we're switching things to one of the way that they do it in a different country around the world because we know that that's the direction Canada's headed. So then they're able to be cutting edge in the local community and be ahead of that kind of learning curve so that when everyone else is trying to catch up, they're excelling. They have their systems in place and they're able to just keep going and grow.
Mhm. Yeah, I love how you nailed that on the head because I know Brad Sugars talks about the business chastity as well, right? It's like a business formula in a way that um, the action coach has to create a commercial, profitable enterprise that can eventually work without you, right? And um, and honing into that vision of the business owner, right? Ultimately, when you kind of get granular, a lot of the business owner's goals are relatively the same, right? More
Hmm.
time, more money. And that's part of the 6 steps, right? The 6 steps of the action coach um, business system that we have and we go through. And different industries are have obviously different nuances, but the underneath is, you know, similar engine, right? And again, coming back
Yeah.
to the community, it's like you can plug into the action coach community to get specific questions if you need, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it comes down to you're building your business, you have to look at it as a house. If you build a fantastic house on a really bad foundation, the house is going to fall apart. And that's
Mhm.
what we do is we make sure that your foundation is solid, that your knowledge and acumen on all the things that you need to know in business are solid. And sometimes we come across scenarios where it's not your strong suit to do that. And here's the person you should hire. By having this person in your corner, this professional, whether it be an accountant or a marketer or an HR person that's going to handle the things that you don't want to do because as a business owner, you're allowed to choose not to do the things that you don't want to do. And then that increased value that you can do, maybe by paying someone $30 an hour, you can go out and earn $150, $160 an hour for your business.
Mhm.
And really realizing what that is by getting out from whether it be behind your desk or submitting receipts to your accountant when someone else can do that. All of those little things, those little increments of time really add up for someone
Mhm.
and helping them realize that I don't need to do it. Someone else can do it just as well or better than I can with less
Yeah.
time and do some other roles in the business is what we kind of strive to accomplish there.
Mhm. What advice would you give to somebody who or a business owner that is starting to kind of look for a business coach or wants to grow their business and doesn't know where to doesn't know where to go or like how to find the right business coach for them?
Finding the right coach is going to be key because you need someone who's going to have the confidence to tell you the things you don't want to hear,
Mm-hmm.
but is also going to be there to dust you off a little bit when you fall down. Yeah, I mean, we have a slogan, it's called fail fast. You don't learn
Mm-hmm.
anything by winning the first time, so you got to take those chances. Finding a coach that has the ability to really slow things down for you and say, okay, let's look at what you're looking to do, and does this benefit what your ultimate goal is? Someone that can really break that down is invaluable. That have to be someone that's giving you the time, and not over the top time, because we're business owners as well. So we practice a lot of what we preach, but we're attainable. And someone that comes from an organization. I mean, I don't want to say anything negative about some of the other people in the marketplace, but business coaching is a heavily unregulated industry.
Mm-hmm.
Action Coach Global regulates us significantly, where we're putting our stamp on an international community. We're a franchise. If we're not following the rules and regulations that are set forth by us and standing behind our guarantees, then we don't get to coach under the system. We
Mm-hmm.
have proven systems. We have, I don't know, I don't know, you would know almost as well or better than I do that there's like 30, 40,000 documents in our
Yeah.
internal system, whether it be videos, how-to manuals, here's what this spreadsheet should look like, all of those different steps along the way, that are absolutely fantastic that a lot of other people don't have access to. I
Right.
mean, a business coach with Action Coach is fantastic because we of the reach we have. If we come across a
Mm-hmm.
plateau or an interval or an issue that we can't do, we have people we can reach out to and get the help we need. So that's why the average Action Coach engagement is over 4 years in time, because it's there's always something new to learn, and we're always able to move those milestones. And because our pricing model can be based on simply how much revenue you have, there's a
Mm-hmm.
program with an Action Coach that works for you, because it's not one
Yeah.
size fits all, which makes
Yeah.
things great.
Yeah. I love that. And even in the coach action coach system, there's even more training that you can go through to become executive coach, right? A corporate employee, like their leadership. There's so much extra additional learning that you as a business coach can keep brushing up on, especially as trends and industries change, the way people even grow their business or how the world operates in an AI advancing world, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
you got to
it's
stay on top of things too. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's fantastic is, I mean, you touched on kind of the path to mastery that's running right now. I'm in a group with like people that have been coaching for over 15 years, and they're
Hmm.
still bringing it all back to basics, relearning stuff that they kind of forgot to use. And it's good to see that everyone's kind of in the same boat and everyone goes through the same cycles, because it's true in your business, whether you've been operating a sneaker store or a t-shirt store for 15 years, once in a while you still have to go back to those basics and touch up on that foundation and make sure that things are assessed in the right way. So that's kind
Hmm.
of what Action Coach does to hold us accountable. Is we have to kind of, you're not reinventing, but you're retouching on and you're rehoning your skills. And I mean, every time you read the same book, you get something different from it because you're reading it from a different perspective. So it makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Because you're in a different part of your life, a different part of your business, a new thing, new keyword or element pops up. On that point, do you have a favorite business book that you keep going back to or that has been your business Bible per se?
Uh, Not really a favorite. I do a lot of like the mindset ones and just making sure that I'm staying focused on things. I mean, Grant Cardone's got some great sales tactics. Brad's books are fantastic when it comes to what the systems are and learning that. And just whatever you need in the moment and finding that book that this is what I need to hear for the next couple of days while I'm listening to this audio book while I'm driving in the car or making dinner or just having some quiet time on the treadmill. Just
Yeah.
constantly be learning and constantly be doing it. And because the library out there of business books is fantastic, it might be a view at a left field, but there's something you can get from every single piece of information, and it's a different perspective of looking at it. And there's all kinds of problem solving ones out there.
Hmm. And another little thing that Action Coach does, we do have a book of the month, and a lot of the coaches read it and share their input as well, which is kind of like a massive book club. But and
Yeah, absolutely.
where can business owners find you, Barrett, if they want to seek you out to inquire if business coaching is right for them and their business? How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, I mean, Action Coach Global just started the website where you can find your coach in any country around the world. Action Coach Canada has a similar one, and I'm actioncoachatlantic.ca. So you can
Mm-hmm.
find me on the website. All of our phone numbers are public knowledge, so you're able to get in touch with us. And I think that there's a coach out there for you. And we as coaches believe that working with an individual coach can sometimes run its course. So we're more than happy to refer you to someone else in the system where you're used to the terminology, you're used to all of that aspect, but it's someone that brings a different perspective and a different energy. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's the advantage of the network where it just works out fantastically.
Yeah, amazing. And I'm sure you're on LinkedIn, so give Barrett a LinkedIn request. And scrolling back, I wanted to ask on the franchise side, if somebody is looking into becoming a business coach, what advice would you give to them as they start inquiring about, um, yeah, is business coaching right for me? Or, and about just the Action Coach franchise, the model, the support, just in a nutshell summary, what advice could you give to somebody?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to whether you're starting purchasing a franchise or any other business, don't underestimate the amount of time it's going to take in the beginning to do it.
Hmm.
The support system is there, so use it. Don't feel like you're alone. Sometimes the only hurdle in the way of getting a hold of someone is the time zone. Because Canada's massive, the world is massive. So sometimes it's 12, 14 hours before you can get in touch with someone to help you solve that problem, but it's great. So just have your war chest ready. Talk to your friends and circle of influence and the people that are going to help you out, and be in your support system. But don't underestimate how much work it is and how much outside of your comfort zone you have to get. And I mean, with coaching and what we do is we don't move people outside of their comfort zone. We make their comfort zone bigger.
Mm,
I liken it to a tradesperson might start with a toolbox and then they've got a car and then they've got a truck and then they've got a van and then they've got a warehouse full of tools. That's what we do with coaching is we're constantly adding to your comfort zone to make it bigger. So yes, it might be something bigger, but last time I took on a challenge, I got this much better. Last time I did this, I got that much
mhm.
better. So that's what kind of happens. An action coach is probably second to none with doing that. I mean, if you buy a restaurant franchise, you have no say in what your menu is going to look like, and you can't kind of
Mhm.
do those different things, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. And just kind of wrapping things up, do you have any final thoughts or experiences with Action Coach, or even just maybe something that surprised you as now that you've been coaching, something that you've, enjoyed coaching clients, or just something that you've loved being an action coach?
Yeah, I think that the first time you're having a conversation with a client and you see the smile change on their face, is one of the most rewarding things you can have happen. And just the aha moment within yourself when you realize that all of the hours you've put into learning the system and all of the videos you've watched and the books that you've read all comes to this culmination of starting to change your attitude and your closing rate and all of
Mhm.
those terms that you learn. And it's fantastic and just feeling a part of the community. I mean, we're really good at picking up the phone if someone calls us and answering and responding to emails, which is second to none. I've already referred to potential clients to other coaches in Canada who have clients that work in the same field so they can share ideas, and we're just kind of bringing this coast to coast to coast Canada together in a smaller entity and helping each other out. A rising
Yeah.
tide rises all ships is kind of the saying out here in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, be that beaker of hope with the lighthouse on
Exactly.
Atlantic,
Yeah.
Action Coach Atlantic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We try to steer
Yeah.
away from the rocks, but once in a while you're going to come close.
Business gets rocky, right? So,
It's not a straight line. It is definitely, it looks like an EKG graph. It's ups and downs, and you just got to go along for the ride. But it's better to go
mhm.
along with it with people.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what, Barrett, I really appreciate your time today and just jumping on and diving into your journey, your coaching experience, and your experience as an action coach as well. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for our more success stories coming from Action Coach Canada and the crew over here, and to learn from other business coaches who are making waves and sharing their insights as a business owner and business coach.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.